Okay.
Are they streaming online?
Yes, I'll tell you everything now. Okay. Okay, recording started. Just 1 second. Let me share the screen. Otherwise, I forget. Good. Okay, perfect. Good afternoon. So, did we meet before with some of you? Yeah, with you and with you as well. Did you attend coastal engineering last fall? Okay, last semester with me. And what about you? You didn't see me before. You attended also coastal engineering? Okay.
Offshore engineering.
Okay. Okay, perfect. Can you please remind me what is your degree program? Yours is offshore engineering, right? But what curriculum? I mean, the curriculum of offshore engineering. It's environmental, offshore, structural. Perfect. Yours? Environmental. Your environmental. Environmental. Okay. And what about you? Did you attend my lectures last fall?
Actually, no. I just studied in Denmark as an exchange student.
Okay, perfect. Okay, that's fine. Okay, I am asking because there is, I mean, I need to make a small overlap given that not all of you attended the lecture last fall. So for you and you, there will be probably the first hour, that's the second hour, a small overlap. And I hope you don't mind. Okay. And it is very short, but still there is something that I need to introduce for them. It's an introduction, a general introduction to coastal engineering, harbor engineering. I will try to make the wording different, but the lecture notes are the same. Okay, good. Perfect. So for everybody, and especially for those who didn't see me before, my name is Alberto Montanari. I am supposed to be your teacher for this first part of harbor engineering. I am supposed to teach to you for 32 hours. And then 16 hours of the same subject are going to be taught by Professor Archetti. And we make the exam together, more or less, maybe more or less because maybe that there is only one of us, but the exam is the same. And we combine our two parts in one unique exam. Sometimes it's done by me, sometimes by her, sometimes together. It depends. Okay, but you are a few students only, so the logistic for the exam is not a problem. However, in this first hour, I will give you detailed information. Okay, detailed information on my teaching and also the exam, whatever, anything else. And you don't need to take notes because everything is written down. I will tell you where. Okay, so if you want to take notes, of course, this is fine, but I just wanted to tell you that everything I'm saying, it's recorded in the video and it's online. So it's available online. So where it's available online, you have two possible sources. One is the first one, which I recommend to you, is my website. And then there is Virtuale. Let's look on my website first, because Virtuale is a mirror of my website. A mirror plus something, and the something I will tell you. But for the lecture notes, I suggest you to use my website. Hello? Okay, so my website is www.albertomontanari.it. Just 1 second, I open a Word document so that I can write it down. Just 1 second, because I'm not familiar with this. And so, harbor engineering, please. No problem.
Can you look at the door?
Perfect. Okay, I write it here because they changed the desktop and I'm not familiar with the new one. I can't find one. It's www. I'm writing a capital letter. You know that for web addresses, capital letter, lower cases, it doesn't make a difference. Okay, good. This is the address of my website, and you get on this, you land on this page. And if you scroll down for teaching, you can find everything I do here. So research, teaching, whatever, public engagement, whatever. And also some, let's say, fun. And so if you go down, there is lecture notes for Harbour Engineering 2024. If you click here, you get to a page where there is reported everything I'm telling you now, okay? And so I propose that we go through what is written here. Of course, you don't have to read the screen, just listen to me. I'm just to give me a pathway for what I'm saying, I'm reading here. So first of all, what we are talking about? We are talking about Harbour engineering, which means techniques for designing port structures and port layout. Okay. Harbour engineering, harbors are located into the coast, of course, and we are talking about coasts of seas, lakes, so any kind of coastline. We will define what a coastline is, but let's say that briefly is the line that marks the divide between a water body, a surface water body like this, a sea or a lake, and the land. So harbors are located along the coastline. So if we want to talk about harbors, and in particular harbor engineering, we need to start from coastal engineering. Coastal engineering, some of you had a brief introduction to it, maybe that you attended last semester with me. What about you? Did you already meet me in the past?
No.
No. Ah, okay, perfect. What is your degree program? Is it offshore, but? Structure. Okay, great. Okay, and therefore we will talk also of coasts. So don't be in a way puzzled if I start with an introduction to coastal engineering. It's extremely important that you understand the dynamics of coast, how the coasts, why the coasts are important, and the importance of coasts is precisely related to harbors. So we will talk about the design, as I said, at large scale, which means layout. And we will also talk about the design of some details, some structures. We will not talk about structural design. We will talk about load estimation, but when it comes to designing, to sizing the individual pieces, like sizing concrete walls, sizing sheet piles, we will not go into the details of structural mechanics. We will talk about the water part of it. Water, but not only water, actually also wind, etc. We will talk about loads, we will talk about environmental impact. So it is a kind of limited perspective from the side of water, climate, and movement of ships. Okay, this is what we are focusing on. It is a subject that is extremely important because our ports are extremely important. They have a relevant socio-economic role. We will see in detail some numbers that will give you an idea. Indeed, for the tourism, for commerce, for trading, for movement of goods, commerce, ports are extremely important. So harbor engineering is a significant subject. It's a key subject for people living along the coasts. And we will see that a lot of people live along the coasts. To give you an idea, in Italy, about 60% of the population lives along the coasts, and all over the world, about 40% of the population. I am anticipating some numbers, but everything is written down. So the subject is interesting. Still, it's not very popular. As you can see from the number of students here, it's not very popular because I have the feeling that students think that this is very specific. This is very narrow. I don't have the same feeling. Keep in mind that I'm not a native Harbour engineer. I am a civil engineer. My main field of study is hydrology. So hydrology is the science of the water cycle. I came to studying coastal engineering and harbor engineering relatively recently, about less than 10 years ago. And I had the same feeling before getting into the field of coastal and harbor engineering. I had the feeling that it was limited, it was a narrow perspective. When I started studying it, I'm not a researcher in this field, but of course I am a teacher, so I needed to study it. When I started to study it, I found that it's indeed interesting, important, and relevant for our socio-economic development. And it's relevant for sustainable development. This is why I really found it interesting. And it's also relevant for climate change. And you know that it's sustainability, climate change, they are topical issues. Okay, so in terms of the logistic part of it, first of all, I would like, you are a few students only. This is quite normal. Last year, I think I had only 2. So it's not a surprise to me. And this is very good from what concerns our interaction. We have the opportunity to interact a lot. And I would like to take advantage from this opportunity. Interacting means that you don't have to hesitate to ask questions. There are no stupid questions. I hope that I can answer. And so questions is the first form of interaction. Another form of interaction is exercises. We will do something together. And in terms of coding, programming, coding, because I think it is extremely important. You need, maybe that you are already very skilled in coding, but in any case, I think it is a good opportunity to work together on coding. It will be very simple. If you don't have any experience of coding, that's fine anyway. And another way of interacting is if you deliver short presentations during the lectures. Usually here in Ravenna, I don't know why, but students are a bit reluctant, maybe because they are less than in Bologna. In Bologna, they are very stimulated to give short presentation. What is a short presentation? It's a case study. It's something you're interested in. Maybe that you have experience of how an harbor works, a port works, an experience of problems that are suffered by, like over traffic, suffered by ports that you know. A short presentation means that you prepare 5-6 slides and you talk about 5-8 minutes to your colleagues, and then we open a discussion. And it is, I tell you, very interesting. Don't assume that it requires a lot of work. I don't think it requires a lot of work. You may have a direct experience of something worth to be presented, or you may go on the web. And because maybe that there is something you are interested in, and you deliver this short presentation. The only thing I ask you is that the presentation should be technical, because we need something that is related to engineering. Technical doesn't mean that you show equations with 3 pages of equations. Technical means that you explain a design problem, and maybe you explain a project, how a problem was solved, and don't limit yourself to a narrative like it is very nice for sustainability if ports could reduce their environmental impact. This is not technical, okay? And again, it would be extremely interesting. There is no credit gained for the exam if you do that, but it is an interesting experience. You have to get skilled in delivering presentations for your final degree day, but not only that, also for your interviews. You will have to stand in interviews to find a job. So if you get any experience, any opportunity that you may have to deliver presentations. And again, this is a nice way to interact. Of course, you don't have to present things that I am supposed to teach, because you don't have to replace me. And but what you present should be related to what I teach, to Harbour engineering. Okay. So don't hesitate. The only thing that you need to do is to tell me or send me an email saying I'm willing to present on this subject, and I schedule you during the lectures. Okay. Also, I will propose to you some questionnaires on my quality of teaching. There is an official one, which is close to the end of the subject of the lectures. But I will also propose, after a couple of weeks, an interim questionnaire, which is anonymous. Of course, you are only 5 students, so anonymity is not real anonymity. But on the other hand, it's important that you deliver a feedback to me. I just want to know if there are problems. For instance, most of the students say that I speak too fast. So just tell me if I have to slow down, and also tell me if I am too trivial or too tough. I don't think I get the second complaint. Usually students don't tell me that I am too tough. Sometimes students told me that I am too trivial, just to give you an idea, okay? And you are few students, so I don't think it is a problem to adapt to your background. With the 50 students, of course, I need to seek for a compromise, which means that somebody is not happy. But with you, I think we can make everybody happy. Okay. Good. Now, one important thing that is not written here, but it is not important that you take notes. We have 8 lectures. Duration is 4 hours. I am proposing to make this schedule from 1 p.m. sharp to 2:30, and from 10 to 3 up to 4:20. Let's say 5 to 3, 4:25. I need, I mean, 4 hours of teaching for me, I realized it's quite demanding, so I need a long break. If you want to make a short break every hour, this is not a problem for me. And just tell me how you feel, how you like, okay? So last year I made a pool, and the students, and also the year before, the students said better to split in 2 blocks with a break. I made a break of 15 minutes, but I thought that is too, I mean, 4 hours is a long time. So I propose a break of 25 minutes. So again, 1 p.m. to 30, 5 to 3, and 4:25. I say 4:25 because I have a train at 4:43 to Bologna, which I would like to take. It's not really necessary, but still. And especially today because I have commitments there. I work in Bologna, so we say that we are based in the campus of Bologna, not in the campus of Ravenna, just to let you know, okay? So it means that I usually doesn't mean anything for you, because if you want to meet me, we can meet here when I have the lectures. We can meet before the lecture or during or after the lecture. And if you tell me in advance, I can maybe close the lecture a little bit before, and then it's not really a problem. Or we can meet online, which works really well for individual clarification. And for the exam, we will see. It depends. It depends also on your preference. Last year, we made the exam in Bologna, but really it doesn't matter much to me. I can also travel here. It's no problem. So this is the schedule, the timetable. Once again, if you have any different preference, you are few students only. So reach an agreement between you, and then you tell me. Okay, good. An important thing, tutorial documents. So tutorial documents, you see the list here. Maybe that we don't go through all of them, okay? And here there is a complete list. If some of the pages is not used, maybe I'll tell you, and maybe I remove the link. It is important because one thing is for me essential. What is going to be asked to you at the exam is written down here. You don't have to expect anything out of what you can find in these links. And also in the links, there is more. I'll tell you what are the parts that we will treat, we will discuss, but not asked at the exam. I tell you, and if you have doubts, please ask me. It's not a stupid question to ask something like, but this part here, should I study it for the exam or not? Because in teaching and in learning, one thing is to prepare the exam. Another thing is to make your background strong. And you have to prepare in a different way. It's not the same thing, because for an exam, you study the fine details. And these fine details, you cannot remember them forever, for all of your life. After a while, you forget. I forgot what I studied in basic maths in my engineering study, and I cannot, if I make now a talk test for getting access to engineering, I fail, I'm sure. So these fine details, of course, you need to know them for the exam, but it's not important that they are not going to last in your memory for a long time. While to make your CV strong, you also need to learn the big picture, to get a perspective of the big picture. And the big picture means that you don't look at the fine details, but you look at the large scale, you look at the concepts, and these concepts are supposed to remain in your mind forever, okay? But of course, this concept must be studied in a different way in order to remain in your mind forever. So it's not a problem for me to tell you, look, I'm not asking these fine details at the exam, or these fine details are asked only at the exam. So you can just ask me. What I mean is that you find a lot of more things in these pages with respect to what is strictly necessary to prepare the exam. And these more things are just for making your background stronger, okay? Okay, now these links, first, let's click off one of them, like the third one, okay? You see that it's given in the form of a web page. Why a web page? Because in the web page, I can include links. I could include links also in a PDF, but it's more complicated. It's more complicated to include them. It's more complicated for you to go through the links. What is the purpose of the links? The purpose of the links is not to prepare for the exam. The purpose of the links is, if you see a word that you don't know, like a birth, what is a birth? There is a link here. You click there and you go on a Wikipedia page that explains what is a birth. Okay, so the links are useful if you want to learn something that you are missing, or if you want to expand. Sometimes I discuss things that I think are interesting, depending on your interest, of course. So I put a link. Usually links are not to be followed for preparing the exam. Absolutely. Okay. If it is the case, I'll tell you, but I anticipate it will not be the case. So don't worry for preparing your exam to follow the links. If you are motivated to make your background more solid, then my suggestion is, if you see a link that gets your interest, click on it. Okay. And if you see any broken link, please tell me. Okay. So another motivation for giving my lecture notes in the form of web pages is that I am revising continuously the web pages. I will tell you later, but today we need, in order to educate students like you, we need to be continuously updated. We need to make continuous update, because we are in a period, in an era where science is progressing, especially the science of water in general. and ocean engineering, coastal engineering is progressing. So if you look at the books that were published 20 years ago, they are missing important information. So my aim is to continue and update these pages. And therefore, for me, it's much easier to update a web page. Important thing, everything that you find on my website is open access. Open access means that you can reuse it. And you can take figures. If you want to include a figure in your thesis, you can do that. Of course, you need to cite the source, just get some information on how open access works. And you don't have to make a cut and paste, because cut and paste is plagiarism and it's illegal. Beware, it's illegal. So don't make any cut and paste from the web for making documents, unless you quote it. You will see in my web pages there are some quotes, which means that I specify from Wikipedia you can read this, and then I put quotes. This is not plagiarism, of course, but if you create a new document and you make a cut and paste, it means that you are selling for your creation something that you didn't create, and this is plagiarism. It's illegal. To give you a couple of examples, one of my colleagues was in another university, was coordinator of a degree program, and to make a flyer published on the web, he used a picture that he found on the web. He was fined 3,000 euros by the author of the picture, and he had to pay from his own pocket. Second example, like 15 years ago, there were 2 students at the University of Bologna who used the same thesis for the final degree. And you may say, this is stupid. It was really not stupid, because they didn't go to the same commission and the same degree program. They went to different degree programs in different departments, but they could use the same thesis, and they used it. So they were condemned, the degree was removed, was withdrawn, and they were banned from attending any program at the University of Bologna forever. So it's risky. Okay, in this case, you may say, I mean, it's clear, but beware that even the cut and paste of separate parts of documents are something illegal. And today we have a lot of softwares, free softwares, that can catch if you took text from the web or ChatGPT. Also, ChatGPT, it can be easily detected. So don't use also ChatGPT. Of course, you may use ChatGPT to put the text that you wrote in a better form, or you can take a text from ChatGPT and reword it in order to include your contribution. This is fine. Or you can get references from ChatGPT. It's not a problem, but just beware of cut and paste from the web, even if it was produced by ChatGPT. Okay, now another thing, these web pages, you can find them also in Virtuale. Let me move to Virtuale. Virtuale is here. In Virtuale, there is a page on Harbour Engineering here. So if you log in Virtuale with your credential, you can find here a mirror of my website. I suggest you to use, look, for instance, if we port planning and environmental impact, the same link, here you see that it goes on my website. I don't like Virtuale because it's not open. I am a fan of open everything, open education, open access, open data, open science. And Virtuale, unfortunately, is not open. So one day you will not be a student at the University of Bologna anymore, and you will not have access to Virtuale anymore, while you will have access to my website because it's open until I survive, of course. And so this is why I don't go directly on Virtuale, but I first go on my website. And also my website is more flexible than Virtuale because I don't have the security, the cyber security needs that the university has. I can tolerate to be vulnerable. The university cannot, of course, and therefore it's more flexible. But on Virtuale, there are some important things that I want that you know. And the first one is the forum. It's by far the most important. You have to subscribe to the course in Virtuale, because if you subscribe, let me see how many participants there are now. I think all of you maybe. No, one of you is missing here. I don't know who. So who is missing? Please subscribe. Okay. And why? Because when I write on the forum, you receive an email with the message. So this is the most efficient way to communicate with you. For me, it's again the most efficient way to communicate with you. So please don't forget to subscribe to the course. It's open to any student at the University of Bologna. You don't need to have the course in your study plan. Therefore, subscribe, okay? And tell your colleagues to subscribe, if any. And then in Virtuale, you may find something more like self-evaluation tests or things like this. Okay. Let's go back to my website, and you will see that under the tutorials, there are also web pages for the practical exercises. And I mentioned to you that we will make some coding, but also computing. Computing means solving some engineering problems. And therefore, you can find here the description of what we will do, okay? One thing I forgot, the web pages are, as I said, the lecture notes are in the form of web pages. If you want to be able to consult them offline, you just have to save the web page on your PC. Or if you want a PDF, you just have to print in PDF the web pages. So just, I think this is the most flexible solution. Some students don't like to study on an online page because in case the connection is broken, they cannot study. So if you have a concern of this type, just make sure that you print out the web pages in PDF or save them offline. Okay. Okay, good. Now, videos. I am recording everything in terms of lectures, and will make the videos available on Virtuale in Panopto. And YouTube. YouTube in general is easier to access. The only problem with YouTube is that they put advertisements starting from a couple of years ago. I'm not, of course, monetizing through YouTube, but still, even if I don't monetize, they put advertisements. So it's something that I don't like, but on the other hand, I still think that YouTube is the most efficient. And if you click on the playlist of Harbour Engineering, which is linked in this page here, you will get to, let me just, before continuing, accept everything. And you will get to the playlist of our lectures. Of course, no videos yet. But if you look at my YouTube channel, you will see that, for instance, you have the playlists from last year. And so last year, lectures Harbour Engineering 2023, and you see here everything, all the lectures, okay? Let me just go back here. And if you are now, I have to stop my lecture last year. Otherwise, I can run the video and